Hi everyone, Janie here. Welcome back to my garden and welcome to the last episode in this round of Show Me Your Gardens. We are on zone 3. So last fall when I did Show Me Your Gardens, we did zone 3 through zone 10. This year I'm doing zone 10 all the way down to zone 3. I will link last year's playlist in the description down below so you can check out all those beautiful gardens. But I have some gorgeous and very interesting zone 3 gardens to share with all of you. Now, the first one I want to show you is from my friend Maya from the YouTube channel Simply Bloom. Maya and I have been friends pretty much since I started doing YouTube, and she is from Bemidji, Minnesota. She has the most beautiful garden, and last season on Show Me Your Gardens, her season was kind of wrapping up along with a lot of other zone 3 gardens that time because I had done it kind of in the fall. So now we're seeing these zone 3 gardens kind of in their prime, which is really exciting. So I wanted to show Maya's garden from Simply Bloom, and she also just had a baby, so congratulations, Maya. Let's check it out.
Hi guys, I'm Maya with the YouTube channel Simply Bloom. I live in northern Minnesota, zone 3. I wanted to just touch base on a few things that I love the most in my garden. Now I did just have a baby in April, so garden's not quite where I want it to be, but that's okay. I thought I would kind of highlight some things I love most, and this is definitely one of the highlights of my garden. This is a rock garden. So what I did is I cleared out the weeds. I poured potting soil in the crevices of the rocks, and then that made kind of some rock bowls, you could say, and then I planted right into the rock. I am absolutely loving the texture, the color. Everything is so gorgeous. I have some silver mound. I have some creeping jenny, some lamium. I have a creeping phlox here. And then this is a sedum that's called Summer Glory, and it's just about to bloom. It gets these really pretty pink blooms on it. Now this is planted underneath a maple clump. This is an autumn blaze maple. The main tree died back. All of these suckers were coming up from the base, and my husband and I decided to leave it because it just makes this most glorious big multi-tree trunk. This flower bed just gives me so much peace, so much joy. I have a lot of lamium. There's some dark side of the moon astilbes, hostas, and then it just continues around. I have Queen of Hearts Brunnera, and I absolutely love this whole garden space. I want to highlight another space in my garden here. I love this space. I have several hydrangea standards that alternate every other one with whiskey barrels that I have planted up. And if you are looking for an amazing centerpiece, get yourself a lemon cypress. They are so gorgeous. They offer that bright pop of chartreuse. But moving back here, I have another rock garden. Similar plants. Lamium, creeping jenny, silver mound. Here's a blue spruce sedum right here. But I want to point out this rose right here. We just got some rain. It knocked off a bunch of the older blooms. But this is the Gertrude Jekyll from David Austin. A perfect example how I tested the boundaries of zones. Planted a zone 4 beautiful rose, and it is doing fabulous. And I love the way that the roses pair with this Bartella peony. Absolutely gorgeous. And this peony has sturdy stems. This, by far, right here, is my favorite part of the garden. I have these big Glowmaster alliums in front of the back to the fuchsia salvia. Now the salvia is almost done, but I'll pop up a video of what they looked like earlier this week. Absolutely incredible. I want to take you over to a new bed I just planted last October, November. So this is the garden bed I just put in last November, October is when I was planting it. I have a beautiful shade bed here, and I'm not sure the variety name of most of these. My husband planted it before we got married. This is off the side of my garage. try to glam up the garage as much as possible. I really love this view here. So there's an Amber Jubilee 9-bark, but I love that new growth that has that ambery orange color. And I love it planted with this Dicentra. But I love that silvery blue foliage up against the warm amber foliage. I think it is so pretty. If you're not sure what colors look good together, go find yourself a color wheel, and any colors that are the exact opposite from each other on the color wheel are complementary colors, and they will look so good next to each other. We are back at the rock garden that I first showed you. I skipped over so many things. I tried to highlight my top favorites in the garden, but definitely check out, I have other garden tours on my YouTube channel. If you're looking for other ideas for Zone 3 gardens, definitely check that out. I hope you'll have a great day.
Huge thank you, Maya. I absolutely love it. I will link Maya's YouTube channel. You probably all subscribe to her already because I talk about her all the time on this channel, but I will put her YouTube channel in the description down below, along with anybody else. I don't think anybody else in this episode has any socials, but on any of the other Show Me Your Gardens, if anybody has YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or a podcast or anything like that, I will always link it in the description down below. And I encourage you all to go and follow them. So the next garden we're going to go see is from Wawa, Ontario, Canada. We're going to go see Crystal's garden.
Hey everyone, welcome to Crystal's garden on the northeast shore of Lake Superior in Wawa, Ontario, Canada. It's golden hour and I garden in Zone 3B. It's not unusual for me to have snow till April 15th, and our last frost date is often June 15th. In fact, last night was 6 degrees or 42 Fahrenheit. First frost often shows up by September 15th. Come along and let me show you what we grow in Zone 3B. Good morning. It's currently the next morning. The sunset last night was just too nice to miss. It's currently about 6:45 in the morning and it's about 8 degrees or 42 Fahrenheit. Our high today is supposed to get to 18 degrees, which is about 64 Fahrenheit. Our average temperatures around here get a little bit warmer than 64, but not by much. Getting up to 28 would be a very, very hot day for us, which is about 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So I do grow a lot of cool flowers and rely heavily on perennials. My back flower bed is mostly made up of perennials, a vegetable garden, and potted annuals. So let's just take a stroll and see what's going on. Yesterday I spent the day out in here in this flower bed cleaning up what was left of the lupins. In the spring, this is a beautiful bed of yellow primrose, yellow daffodils, and forget-me-nots. It's now just finished with the lupins, and the next thing on the way will be daisies, lilies, echinacea. The peonies are just starting to bloom now. I have a number of peonies on the property, but our buds are just starting to come out. Because of our cooler temperatures, in order for tomatoes to be successful in my growing zone, they grow best in a greenhouse. They will grow outside, but generally the fruit isn't ripe in time by the time the first frost comes. In the spring, my greenhouse is full of all the annuals I've grown in the basement, and they come out here to grow on until the snow is gone and it's safe to put them out. But then after that, my greenhouse turns into the tomato house for the rest of the growing season. This is one of our favorite spots to sit on a hot summer day. In the heat of the afternoon, this spot is full of shade, and we enjoy sitting here looking at the backyard. The orange barrel you see there is my irrigation system. Because of our cooler temperatures, watering is important, but it's not like we have to have drip to every plant. So I collect a lot of rainwater. On my property, I have 2 rain barrels in the front, this one that you see here, and behind the white tank, which is my propane tank, we have a series of 6 rain barrels all connected together that collect up the rainwater. We use this every day to water the flower beds, the pots, and into the vegetable garden. We have a submission pump that we can pump the water out through a hose to get it to anywhere in the yard. The gray building you see is my shed, and behind it is our chicken coop where we have 5 laying hens. Coming out my back door on our back deck, I have a number of small planters and pots that I planted with annuals that I've grown myself in the house over the wintertime months. So for example, in this particular planter, the 2 petunias, the lobelia, and the hare's grass in the center of the planter are all stuff I've grown in the basement and then grew on earlier in the spring in the greenhouse to be planted out. Here on the upper deck, I have a number of pots filled with annuals that I've grown myself. In the black pots in the corner here, the gazebo is a petunia in the bottom and a cup and saucers vine. The cup and saucer vine will grow all the way up the trellis and follow up the pole of the gazebo and will eventually meet right here in the center. I have one on each end, and by the end of the summer, it's a beautiful enclosure of the gazebo. So these are ones I would call a little bit more my fail. Coleus, I love having here. It's a nice shady spot, and it does well when it's not cold. But mornings like this morning make it shiver, and as you can see, we've had a couple of cold mornings. Welcome to my front yard. The sun is just starting to rise, and so I'll have to watch where I'm standing not to have the sunshine into the camera. My front yard again is full of perennials, but out here is where I have a lot of my flowers that I use for cutting. And here is what the front flower bed looks like from the other side of the house. I have a flower bed that runs the full length of the house. And like I said, inside it, I have it full of perennials. There are some cut flowers here and there to fill in the holes. Some of the things that are in bloom right now. The yarrow is just starting to come up. And I have this beautiful deep burgundy peony that's just starting to show. The daisies are just about ready to pop with bloom, so I can hardly wait to see that come up. And here is one of my surprises. I did not plant Orlea. The seed dropped from last year, and here it is. On my front porch, I have two black pots that are full of annuals again that I've either grown myself or have saved the bulbs from. So the calla lilies I do dig out in the fall and save the bulbs and plant them up again in the spring. I was really impressed with how they come together this year. Everything in this pot has been grown by me except for the Caliber Croas, which is one of the ones I do have to purchase. At the very front of the house, I have a flower bed that surrounds this birch tree, and in it is mostly a lot of cutting flowers. I have some perennials in here to fill in the holes. The section right here with all the black posts are actually where my dahlias are growing. I threw my dahlia bulbs in the ground first thing in the spring, and they are starting to pop up. But in the meantime, because I was getting asked so much about what the black stakes were, I did plant some things such as the baby's breath and staked it up along them. These dahlias that you see here, I've grown from seed, and I think next year that's exactly what I'm going to do. I've saved dahlia bulbs in the past, but I haven't found it to be too successful, and sometimes I'm wondering if it's worth the time when it's easy to grow the seeds and the dahlia blooms are just as lovely. So right here was the original part of the bed when I first came to the house. It was just a square under this birch tree, so the hostas under here are very mature. But as time has gone on, I've expanded flower beds, which is typically what I tend to do. I start small and grow big. Here, the alyssum is something that I've grown from seed myself, and a surprise from this year was the fact that this Dusty Miller come back. My feverfew patch gets added to a little bit each year. I always make sure I have something that's growing here, but typically it comes back all on its own. The buds are just starting to form on it, and I have a few that are coming up in bloom. Here in the obelisk, I have a perennial sweet pea that will soon be taking over this whole thing, and will have beautiful blooms all over. This is part of my cut flower bed, and basically I interplant snapdragons and straw flowers here within this section. And beside it, I get into my rudbeckias. Here is Prairie Sun. It's just starting to form up its buds, but not a lot of flowers yet. Behind it is another hydrangea. This is a strawberry vanilla hydrangea. In the back, you can see some of my anemones that are just starting to bloom as well. The flowers were coming along really nice, but then the cutworms found them and have started eating holes in the petals. Here's an example of what the cutworms have been doing. They've been eating holes in everything. And yeah, it's cutworm. I've caught the worms here on the plants myself. They seem to be enjoying the feast, although I haven't been enjoying how my plants look. But I guess that's why it's called gardening, and things aren't always perfect. Sometimes you just have to go with the flow. Well, everyone, Janie told us only 5 minutes, and I think I could go on and on forever. So I'm going to now sit down, enjoy my coffee, the warm fire, and the view in the backyard. Have a great day.
Crystal, a huge thank you for showing us your lovely garden and that sunset. Oh my goodness, with the birch trees. So beautiful. It looked like heaven. When you were talking about those temperatures, I was just like, wait, what? What is she saying? She's saying 80 degrees is hot for her? It's just a whole nother world. And so that's kind of what these Show Me Your Gardens are so much fun for, is just to see something that is so different from your garden. It's fun to see the gardens in your zone because you can really relate to those, but it's also fun to see the other gardens and what plants do well in those gardens with such opposite conditions, especially if you live on one end of the spectrum like I do and like Crystal does. So huge thank you, Crystal, for sharing it with us. Beautiful, beautiful garden. So now we're going to come back down south from Canada and we are going to head to Grand Forks, North Dakota to go see Joey's beautiful Zone 3 garden.
I'm just going to show you my Zone 3B to 4A garden. I'm going to show you my front yard. This is a year old. This is its first full summer. This was just like a traditional yard with the grass, and it was so much space to mow, and which like a space that we didn't really use. So I always love having plants in the garden, and I always love roses. So I thought I'm gonna start with this area right here, which is my my sister's rose garden. Each rose is like one of my sister's name on it. And yeah, and my favorite, apparently, I was so scared that when I moved here from the Philippines that I grew up with some roses in our backyard, and I was so scared that I won't be able to grow roses. But I'm actually happy and surprised that we have a lot of roses that blooms for zone even 3. And most of my roses are zone 4 to 9, I think. And this is one of my favorite. This is Neil Diamond, and it has a nice smell, and it's a nice cut flower rose, so I love that. That's one of my favorite. And majority, the most prolific bloomer or like a vigorous plant are actually my roses, because most of the people here, just because of the cold weather, I've always see just like hostas and fern, and I always want to have flowers, and the very common one are the daylilies, but I'm happy that I found a combination of flowers that I like. So yeah, what I did last year is I dig it up, and the front area I want to make it like just a low growing like flowers, like not so tall, like maximum of 2 or 3 feet, because it's in the front yard. We get a lot of snow here. Majority of our snow in Grand Forks, it's like 43 inches of snow, but it's just like, you know, from the up straight down, and in the front yard we actually get drift up to like 6 feet of snow out here. So we still need to blow the snow this way, so I don't want any like bushes or structure that could block the snow. So I want like an herbaceous, once it's winter it just dies down. So these are a combination of native and zone 3 to 4 plants. This is like this area is partly shade up to full sun right up the front. So last year, yes, I dig it out all by myself. I bought pallet of mulch and just design it. I want it to be like a nice flow, so I designed the meandering path towards the yard. I got some plugs from last year now that has grown. These are native to North Dakota plants, and some yarrows. Yeah, so this is my front yard. Again, this is its first year, so I'm still waiting for its second year to see. I want everything to just cover and I want movement. My cat mint is happy as well, so I added some cat mint border. I do have rabbits in here, so I end up spraying because they just eat some of the plants. And then I added some fountain. See, I do have a lot of roses everywhere. And then I got some solar fountain over there. And this is my my crab apple, which in springtime we get like pink clouds in the front and the back. So I got my hydrangea. These are original to the house when we bought it. We just moved here. We got the house 2021. And this one I got yesterday last year, sorry, from Heirloom Roses. Yeah, that's my garden tour.
Joey, your garden is absolutely incredibly stunning. I can't imagine that garden covered with so much snow, but hearing you talk about it, it's like, yeah, you really do have to think about that kind of stuff. Your pathways made out of your lawn are just so beautiful, and your neighbors just must love that you do that for them in your short growing season, because what a sight, what a beautiful, beautiful garden. And I have to say, it's so interesting to hear about you talk about what plants can handle zone 3, like roses going down to zone 3. Yeah, of course it's too cold for roses, but you've managed to make some of them work, which is really, really impressive. So huge thank you for sharing your garden with us. And thank you to everybody else who submitted their gardens for zone 3. It's absolutely gorgeous to see all these beautiful zone 3 gardens. And also huge thank you to everybody else who submitted your gardens no matter what, throughout the Show Me Your Gardens. I apologize again for not being able to show everybody's garden, just limited on time in these videos, but not to worry. I am keeping all these videos, and I will be sharing some more gardens on Facebook, on Instagram, and maybe some more videos on YouTube as well. So I loved this series. I'm definitely going to be doing it again next year. Show Me Your Gardens is just so much fun. I know it's so much fun for me to edit and react to all these videos. And just based on the comments that you all are leaving, I know you all love these garden videos as well. So I couldn't do it without you. So huge thank you to all of you. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today.